Shalom, shalom, beloved, and welcome to rYse Radio, a ministry of RBM, which stands for Repairing the Breach Ministries, where it is our duty to rightly divide the word of truth, to efficiently equip and empower the Most High's people to help prosper His people, and ultimately bring together Zion so that we can gather together in unison, being uh, in one mind and on one accord in our Messiah and King, YHWH, who is the Lion of Judah, or Yehuda. And my name is Louay, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all today for the Shabbat meditation. And as always, what makes us slightly different is that we observe the Shabbats according to the Kodesh, or the Hebrew calendar. And we've been in the fourth month of the Hebrew calendar, Arba, and this is the fourth and final Shabbat of the month of Arba. The Shabbat was Friday evening to Saturday evening, this past Friday evening, from sunset to sunset, the next day, on Saturday. We had a little construction going on the premise. It was a bit noisy. Had some plumbing issues I needed to take care of. But we're here, you know. And actually, we're in between months. And this is also a Shabbat as well, if you will. As far as the observation of the new Kodesh and the incoming month, the scripture also commands us to observe the new moon and the new months, okay, and it's new beginnings. And I have information on the website about the new moons and the trumpets and how that works. So we're going to go ahead and get into the meditation. I'm not going to, there's some things I want to talk about, but for the sake of time and for me uploading this, I may come back and we'll talk about some of these things happening right now in our prayer meditation. I may also couple the new Kodesh meditation for the fifth month. And I think it's Shemish or something like that. I just can't think of it right now. I have to take a look at it. Yeah, we might do the prayer meditation for this week. Couple it with the new Kodesh meditation. All right. And I'm also looking into just kind of, just announcing the Shabbats just to make sure everybody stays on track. If you follow us and, the new moons, how we announce those in our meditations, we try to get it as close to the Shabbat as possible. But, I may, like I said, just um, um, announce, at least announce the Shabbat, so that way, the meditations won't interfere with, just marking the time. So let's go ahead and get into the meditation for the Shabbat, the final Shabbat of this month. And we're going to be coming from the subject, continuing on the subject, the wrath of Yahuwah and judgment of the wicked. All right. So we've been coming from the book of Zephaniah. All right. And we've already talked about Zephaniah. Many refer to him as the royal prophet. He's been referred to as an Ethiopian Jew. But we've explained, and one of his mothers or something could have been, from Cush. That's not a lot of information about it, but check out the previous meditations for more information on that. And so we're going to read the scripture, and I'm just going to talk about some things, and then we're going to move on because, like I said, I want to get this uploaded. And it says, "Woe to her who is rebellious and polluted, the oppressing city. She didn't obey the voice. She didn't receive correction. She didn't trust in the Most High. She didn't draw near to the Most High. Her princes within her are roaring lions. Her judges are evening wolves. They leave nothing until the next day. Her prophets are arrogant and treacherous people. Her priests have profaned the sanctuary. They have done violence to the law. Our Elohim within her is righteous. He will do no wrong. Every morning he brings his justice to light. He doesn't fail, but the unjust know no shame. I have cut off nations. Their battlements are desolate. I have made their streets waste so that no one passes by. Their cities are destroyed so that there is no man, so that there is no inhabitant. I said, just fear me, receive correction, so that her dwelling won't be cut off, according to all that I have appointed concerning her. But they rose early and corrupted all their doings. Okay. So just real quick here. Um, he's talking about Jerusalem, of course, and I just can't help to think he's also talking about another city. We're going to talk about that here shortly. Let's continue. Um, all right, and so it says here in Zephaniah 3, uh, verses 8 through 12, and this is all Zephaniah 3. So I, encourage you all to, read that. Hopefully, you read the whole chapter by now. Yeah, the whole book. Um, and so it says here, therefore wait for me, says the Most High, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour on them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth will be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. For then I will purify the lips of the peoples, that they may all call on my name. To serve me shoulder to shoulder, and I know it reads a little funny here. But let's just go back a little bit, that they may call on the Most High's name to serve him shoulder to shoulder. From beyond the rivers of Cush, my worshippers, even the daughter of my dispersed people, will bring my offering. So you see there another hint Zephaniah is giving us about how it's going to play out in the millennium reign of peace, where we're going to serve the Most High shoulder to shoulder with one another, and with the people of Cush. All right, and as well. So and like I said, the Most High is amazing because again, I had no idea where this was going to be going. When I started this, we started explaining that we're a ministry about building bridges, repairing the breach between the Most High and His people, and all nationalities who wish to participate in the kingdom, because it's happening. you know um, um, so and now just observing times, trying to stay synced up. This is where the Most High led me, to present to His people, so that we know how to focus, so that we know how to move. um, and and we'll be talking more about that. We're not done. We have a lot of work to do. Um, and it says here, again, my worshipers, even the daughter of my dispersed people, will bring my offering in that day, and of course the Zion, right? And in that day, you will not be disappointed for all your doings in which you have transgressed against me. For then I will take away out from among you your proudly exalting ones. Okay. Um, and you will no more be arrogant in the holy mountain. But I will leave among you an afflicted and poor people. And this translation says poor people. I've seen other translations where it says humble. So I would actually say, but I will leave among you an afflicted and a humble people. Um, and however, poor people, that could also mean spiritually poor, spiritually bankrupt. Um, but and it says, and they will take refuge in my name. in the name of the Most High. Okay. So that's referring to us again, Zion, who's been here in captivity. Um, and yeah, but I don't want to, I was going to get into something else, because some people claim that we were here, and a lot of our people were already here from the islands, because slavery, slaves were our people, our enslaved ancestors were carried there, taken there, by ship. But some of them escaped and came here to the Americas, um, before the colonizers came. Um, so, but and some might say, okay, well, how can we be in captivity to a place that belongs to us? Well, we're in captivity to the system, Mystery Babylon, because Mystery Babylon, um, according to Scripture in the Book of Revelations, I think it's 18, I think it is. Um, and we're going to talk more about Mystery Babylon coming from Daniel's perspective, the prophet Daniel, um, and the Holy Roman Empire, how, or the unholy, um, how all of that fits. Okay. But like I said, I want to get this uploaded, so I can't digress too much or, um, you know, freestyle too much. Um, but let's go ahead and go to the next section of the text here. All right. And it says that the remnant of Israel will not do inequity nor speak lies, neither will a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they will feed and lie down, and no one will make them afraid. Sing, daughter of Zion, shout, Yisrael, be glad and rejoice with all of your heart, daughter of Jerusalem. The Most High has taken away your judgments, he has thrown out your enemy, the King of Israel, um, our Elohim, our Messiah, is among you. You will not be afraid of evil anymore. In that day, it will be said to Jerusalem, don't be afraid, Zion. Don't let your hands be weak. The Most High, your Elohim, is among you, a mighty one who will save. Now, I want you to look at that. I'm going to pause right there because you should be encouraged, Zion. And you should be encouraged because I know a lot is going on, especially for our brothers and sisters, in the kingdom, doing the work. Um, you know, the oppressors don't make it easy. You know, um, you know, I mean, just dealing with your own family members. You know, um, and it can seem like everyone is against you, and it's really it's a lonely walk. It is, it's a lonely walk. Um, but I just want to read this again here. Uh, Shout, Yisrael, be glad and rejoice with all your heart, daughter of Jerusalem. The Most High has taken away your judgments. He has thrown out your enemy. Our King, our Messiah, um, is among us. You hear that? He is among you, Zion. Okay. You will not be afraid of evil anymore. All right. In that day, it will be said to Jerusalem, don't be afraid. Okay. Now, I don't want to be too redundant, but I thought I needed to emphasize that. All right. Um, it says, don't let your hands be weak. You know, don't let your hands be weak. The Most High is among you, a mighty one who will save. You know, and sometimes um, And I know Paul, the Apostle Paul. I can't think of the book right now. Um, but he says, to work out our own salvation. So there's the things we have to do to work out our deliverance, uh, our salvation, uh, our redemption. Um, but at times you just have to you just have to be honest with the Most High. You know, because we are at war. The Most High is fighting for us. Our Messiah, our King, is fighting for us. He has released his angelic forces, and he's fighting for his people. Okay. Um, and sometimes you just have to say, look, I need your strength, Father. This is this is very difficult. There's a lot going on, and I need your strength. I need you here. I need you to save me. And I hear people foolishly say, "No one's coming to save you." Where, man? I understand the sentiment, and I've never been one to, I've always worked, and I still do work. Um, but it's quite arrogant to say, you know, no one's coming to save. No one's The Most High is promising us right here. All right, that He is among us, a mighty one who will save us. And sometimes we just gotta just keep it 100. Just it's, at times we have to call on Him, and right now we need to call on Him. As we're trying to figure this out, I'm learning every day. Um, gaining more knowledge, more wisdom, because wisdom is the application of what we know. Um, and yeah, at times it gets like that. So I just want to encourage my brothers and sisters, um, just know that the Most High is among us and He's working. And we'll talk more about what He's doing. Okay, in meditations to come, the Most High willing. Um, and He says He will rejoice over you with joy. All right, He will calm you in His love. He will rejoice over you with singing. All right, He will rejoice over you with singing. Um, I will remove those who grieve about the appointed feast from you. So, you know, um, and like I always say, I know some of our brothers and sisters observe the Shabbat um, on Fridays, Friday to Saturday. And that. Even though I don't agree that's the Shabbat, because our ancestors didn't have a Roman Gregorian calendar. It's not like uh, Moses went to Pharaoh and said, "Hey, Pharaoh, it's Wednesday. Let my people go." You understand? Hey, they didn't go by that calendar. You know, um, and I've mentioned before how even the slaves, excuse me, the captains. I think it was a mate I read somewhere how they were logging everything. That's that's why if they say they don't know where we come from, that's a lie because they pay attention to everything we do, study everything we do. Um, you know, it, I even heard that when they design the projects and in the buildings up north in the north on the seaboard up there, and like in New York and areas of that nature, that they use roaches and rats or something to come up with the concept. All right, of how to lay out the projects, and I can't forgive me. Um, I can't think of the individual who bought that information out, but they was just logging everything we did, and they noticed how our ancestors would look up to the moon to determine what month it was, or to determine what time of the month it was. Okay, But anyway, we'll talk more about that um, in some meditations to come. But the point is that the Most High appreciates it. At least His people are trying to seek the truth. At least we're trying to get closer to Him. So I'm fine with that. Not I fellowship with people on Fridays and Saturdays, on the Shabbats. I don't mind, because at least we're gathering. And a lot of people aren't too happy that we observe on the Shabbats like that, because it's taken away from the Sunday buckets, the offering plates. But that's good because I'm fed up with the BS. A lot of people are, they've been lying for us for too long, you know. Um, but they said that he's gonna remove those who grieve about the appointed feast. So not only the Shabbats, but the high Shabbats, the holy feast days. All right. Um, he says they are a burden and a reproach to you. Yeah, I agree. Behold, at that time I will deal with all those who afflict you, and I will save those who are lame and gather those who were driven away. I will give them praise and honor, whose shame has been in all the earth. You see, our shame has been in all of the earth, man. Um, and I don't, but like I said, we absorbed all of that hate because we were being blamed for a lot of things, you know. Um, and of course, this was what our ancestors, unfortunately, they thought they were doing the right thing because they were blind. They were being misled by a lot of the Pharisees who really the Pharisees were kind of like Mystery Babylon, if you will. They weren't they didn't use Torah to bring people closer to the Most High. They would use Torah to cause you to stumble. The Most High hate that. You understand? He said, "Oh no, you're not doing this. You're not doing that. She's doing that. You understand? That kind of thing. That's what the Most High doesn't like, and some people still do that today. You know, um, well, you're not doing this, you're not doing that in the Torah. I mean, you're not doing that. Even the last time you went to the temple or Jerusalem for Passover, you haven't. And that's Torah. We're supposed to do that. The men are supposed to do that. I think we're supposed to go twice a year. Um, so as I already explained, that's where grace comes in. Until we are united again, restored as a nation. Um, then we'll see what the Most High does. You understand? But for right now, we're still under the grace. Um, and but that's for another conversation. Um, well, he says here, I will give you honor and praise among all the peoples of the earth, and I will restore your fortunes before your eyes, says the Most High. And we're getting ready to wrap this up. I just want to go over a couple of more things from this chapter. All right. Um, but I love that. He says, I'm getting ready to restore your fortunes before your eyes. So, with that said, Zion, get your bags ready. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, I'm not saying just sit around and wait. Um, you know, what I mean by that is, start getting your financial literacy on point. Um, learn about investing, learn about buying land, you know, start that 1 year homeowner program now. Um, start looking for opportunities, business opportunities. Um, you know, help the Most High help you. You understand? And even myself, I have a couple of business ventures, and some, like, sometimes it takes time for things just to get where you want it to be. But you have to start, you know. Um, it's kind of like Martin Luther King says. I have it on my Twitter page. He says, faith is taking the first step without seeing the whole staircase. So, that's what faith is, and that's what I mean by get your bag ready. You know, um, because He's going to restore it before our eyes. He's going to restore our fortunes before our eyes. Last year sometime I tweeted, and you know, I was just speaking the truth to power. I know folks probably think and I lost my mind and things of that nature. But they see the work. And I talked about them. I challenged America to start forgiving our student loans, because a lot of diplomas, let's face it, it's you might as well get a roll of tissue papers. I mean, I know it's nothing. I'm for education, but you know, um, it's easier. And I think Dr. Umar, I think it's Johnson. I think his last name is. And I agree. He says it's easier to get a student loan than a business loan. You know, and unfortunately, that's true. You know, because everybody doesn't have the aptitude to go to a 4-year university. Not everybody wants to. Not everybody's social like that. And it's really, these universities are just a bunch of cesspools anyway. A lot of them are. Just to be honest. Um, and again, nothing against education. I'm all about educating. But what are we educating our children? We're not even teaching them their true history. You know. Um, but there are some passionate professors, and as some of our HBCUs, I'm not, believe it, young, I'm not speaking on that. And there's that teaches a lot about culture. However, as a people, I just think we should get on the same page as far as educating our youth and our children. But with that said, I'm not, I'm trying to wrap this up so I can get this uploaded. I do want to go back to uh, here in Zephaniah 3, and where he says, "Wait from me," says the Most High, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour on them my indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth will be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Now, as I may have mentioned before, you know, let me break this down real quick, okay? Um, he tells us to wait for him. Why is that? Because the Most High is patient. He's long suffering. He's giving, not only the world time to get their act together, to get their mind right. He's giving his people time, to come back to the knowledge of who we are. And the Most High has people. He's, you know, who are aware of their existence, aware of his promises. There are many of us who know how to call down judgment. Just let me put it like that. Um, the Most High is saying, "Wait for me." He doesn't want us to spend time um, calling down judgment. I explained this before. He wants us to spend time praying for justice. Okay. Because the truth of the matter is, you could be consumed with that, um, especially when you're dealing with your oppressors. You know, um, you're dealing with all the hate and the racism, the ignorance, and you're dealing with ignorance from oppressors and your own people. And sometimes it's very frustrating. I used to ask the Most High when I used to read in the book of Exodus how there was a point when the people were just, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, man, our ancestors, we're a beautiful people, and the Most High knows that, when we're on point, we're on point. When it's good, it's good. But when we, you know, we kind of start getting out of place a bit. Um, and after our deliverance, there was a lot of complaining, a lot of murmuring, and the Most High just did all these wondrous things to deliver us. But we still managed to fornicate in the camp and make a golden bull. And that's what the term I think holy crap comes from or whatever. Um, but um, there were times when the Most High opened up the earth and caused it to quake. He sent. I mean, he opened up the earth, and I think I can't remember how many of our ancestors fell in, but he just wiped them out. There was one point when he told Moses, "How about I just wipe all of them out, okay? And you just start over. You get your wife, you get your little Cushite wife, and y'all just go start over." You know, I'm sure Moses pondered it for a few minutes, but nah, I'm not. But Moses was very humble, and it really takes a very humble and patient individual to deal with Israel. I'm just gonna be honest. Um, but I used to ask the Most High, I said, man, how you did that like that? I mean, and even when they, you know, created that image of the cow, the Most High sent in those priests and wiped them out, wiped them out. And a lot of our people didn't make it. A lot of our people ain't gonna make it this time around either. And so that's why I'm just, so hard about pressing this word, man, and getting this word out. You understand? Because just because you look like Israel doesn't mean you automatically in Israel. There's a process of adoption, an initiation of baptism. Um, you have to walk this. It's just not going to come to us. We have to come to Him. Um, but but the point is, the Most High is saying, "Wait for me, all right, until the day that I rise up to the prey." Okay. He says, "For my determined," and we already talked about that in Enoch. How it talks about how, the Most High will rise. Um, and again, he was speaking to us. We are, the remote generation, the proxy generation in these last days. Um, and that again, that was echoed throughout this chapter. And he says, "For my determination is to gather the nations." All right, again, and he's gathering the nations right now. Okay, he's gathering the nations to pour on them my indignation. All right. Um, Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth will be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So that's that part of it is well. Let me go ahead and continue. Um, all of the earth will be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. All right. So why is the Most High so angry? You know, you know, why is and it's really indignation. It's righteous anger. I talked about the prophet Hosea in a previous meditation. Um, And Hosea was an interesting guy because um, um, the Most High instructed him to marry a prostitute, right? Now, the name Jose means salvation as well, you know. And I find it interesting the parallel between Jose and Hoshe or Yeshua, because Yisrael, you know, when he came the first when he walked upon us and visited Israel, you know, we betrayed him and you know, like I said earlier, we had him crucified, right? We turned him over to Rome. But not only did we turn him over, we turned ourselves over to Rome, and that was a covenant. And we'll talk more about the abomination of desolation and the a covenant that was established between our people and the Roman Empire um, um, before before um, the Great Siege actually happened. Um, so, if you will, Israel being the bride of our Yeshua, of our Messiah, um, you know, sold her soul, prostituted herself, laid with the kings of the earth or another entity instead of being faithful to her king. And so that's the same instance with Hosea, because even though they had children together and he married this woman, she went out and she was with other men, lay with other men. All right. And so now we find ourselves here in the last days, okay, and getting ready to embark um, the millennium reign of shalom or peace. Um, and you know, the Most High understands that you know you can't have peace without war at times. I mean, if there was no King David, there would have been no Solomon's rule. You know, David had to fight for that. You know, our ancestors, our great grandfather. You know, he had to fight for our grandfathers, his son, to rule and reign in peace. And the Most High is fighting for us right now, setting up the stage, getting us ready, getting the earth ready, getting the world ready. And that's why we have to get ready. Um, so when you look at Zion, the daughter of Jerusalem, the Most High's people, in a metaphysical, her metaphysical, well, you know, as a nation, the metaphysical relationship we have with the Most High is that we're His daughter. Or that didn't sound right. Or that um, the nation metaphysically um, is the daughter of our Father, and then our Messiah is her husband or um, king. It's like it's just a relationship between a king and her nation. You know, a king and his nation. You know, it's a sort of a marriage. You see, and there's nothing sick about that. Like again, it's a metaphysical relationship. So, um, and you know, um, whenever you know, it's this is never when I minister, it's never directly against people per se. I speak against systems, and again, this is a power struggle between good and evil right now, and when you think about what has happened to us over, you know, these last 400 years, these last several centuries as a people, um, and you think about the atrocities that Mystery Babylon committed, and now all of the kings with her, And I'm just gonna say, and like I said, this isn't even anything when I talk about Mystery Babylon or the Vatican, the city that sits on 7 hills. Nothing against parishioners, nothing against Protestant churches or the members, per se. Um, because even the Italian citizens were oppressed by um, the Holy Roman Empire or the Roman Empire. Um, so this is nothing against the citizens; it's just the system and the evil. Because we're talking about an entity who took our holy text. The prophet Joel said, "In the last days, I will pour my spirit upon all flesh." Why? How did that happen? Because our holy text got taken from us. All right, and they got access to it. They even had some of our people explaining to them what some of these things meant because they didn't really understand it. They couldn't comprehend that. But what they did was they took it and they twisted it, changed a lot of things in the scripture, and a lot of times, man, it's like that's why faith is so important and with a humble spirit because it's really a battle. Like you're really wondering at times if what you're reading is correct, and you have to, you know, um, and a lot of times the Most High confirms things, but it really takes a lot of due diligence, because you don't want to, you know, um, you want to make sure you're sharing correct information. Um, we're talking about an entity who did those things. They changed the calendars, so, today's Sunday, according to the Hebrew calendar. Not the Hebrew calendar, I'm sorry. The Roman Gregorian calendar, a day to be worship the sun. It's kind of like and every day of the Roman calendar is based on some deity. We'll talk more about that. Um, so it's almost like we're sinning by just acknowledging the day on that calendar. So that's why it's a constant prayer. It's like we have to constantly stay prayed up, and because you could be sinning like you don't even know why. Like you know, that's what I'm saying, man. So all of these things were done. So that to me, that's just more evidence that the Bible is solid. That the Bible is concrete. You look at the lies, you know, and so here we see that um, he says that all of the earth will be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So let's go ahead and move to a close. Um, he says all of the earth will be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Um, Imagine, if you will, and let's just take Jose, or we can take, someone who's in the military or something like that. They're all fighting, trying to, protect the country, protect their family. Um, they come home from a tour, you know, getting ready to surprise the wifey, you know, um, have a nice dinner, get reacquainted. And he walks into the room and she got her legs up in the air with another man between them, yelling out his name. Now I know that could be a bit graphic. Um, I will say though that in some cases, a lot of cases, some cases that a situation like this can end up deadly. All right. So with that said, um, our Messiah's people have been made subject to these lies for all of these centuries, um, and a lot of times forced. Because the Catholic Church forced their way in. Don't get that mistaken. You had a choice. You served us, so we'll attack you. That's how it went. You tithe to us. You call on, you know, um, our God, um, and and that's what happened to a lot of our people in Kush and in West Africa. I mean, that's how they did it. Um, so now our people, not only are we, you know, um, carried away. Not only are we paying tithes to an entity that we should not worship, but we're calling on the name of a god of another nation. And I'll talk more about the Antichrist or the anti-Messiah. See, that's another play on words. Because what you think is going to happen? I mean, and it's just so the arrogance of our oppressors. It's just mind-boggling to me. Like the Most High, he's just sitting back, just shaking this, swiveling, shaking his head, just watching. And I'm sure I can see Michael in the corner just rubbing his hands together. You know, you know. Uh, because let me finish. All right. Um, you know. So the Most High is watching the oppression. The Most High is watching the lies and the atrocity, and how the of how mystery Babylon has gotten drunken off the blood of our ancestors, the blood of the saints. All right. Um, he's watching his people give all this energy to entity or a deity who's against him. You know, calling on the name of another god. Why is he jealous? He's seeing his people run across the church and dancing and shouting and screaming and singing all of this beautiful singing that we do, and all of and playing all of this beautiful music that we create, to somebody who looks like they were born, I don't know what the in Missoula, Montana, in the middle of the goddamn nowhere. You understand? Um, um, yeah, it's going to be ugly. Um, because he's watching his bride fornicate and call on a name or commit adultery, actually, lay in the bed with and give all of uh, uh, her energy. He's watching his people give all of that energy to Zeus, to be, and I'm gonna break that down. And I really don't even like saying the name Jesus. I will forgive me, but for the sake of this meditation, I have to acknowledge that, and we're gonna break down what that name actually means, because it does not mean the Most High is our salvation. You know, um, and I'll talk more about Antiochus Epiphanes, a character during the time of the Feast of Dedication, in the Book of Maccabees. You can read about that. In the Book of Daniel talks about him. But so yeah, it's not going to be, it's not like I said, it, you watch your wife, you out doing your thing, especially when you out doing your thing, you taking care of business. Our Messiah gave his life for us. You understand? Came here, walked amongst us, taught us, embraced us, to give us everything, you know and now he's watching his people, you know uh serve his enemy, man. uh I'm just gonna say this, uh the Most High is getting ready to cock back and slap all the unrighteousness out of Mystery B. uh, uh the Most High, the Most High is about to G slap Mystery B with a like, it's like with a wet hand. It's like he's gonna dip his hand in the ocean and just cock back and just, well, bam, just slap all the taste of the blood of the saints out of her mouth. The Most High is about to smack Mystery at Babylon so hard that a third of her teeth about to fall out. A third. It's uh, 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 you know, the Most High is kind of funny to me sometimes. Like, because he, like I said, he's just sitting back, and he's fighting for us right now, but he's just looking at you oppressors. He's just looking. Your time is coming soon. Um, because the 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 Most High is about to slap Mystery Babylon so hard that all the nations who lay with her are going to feel it. You understand? And when it talks about all of the earth will be devoured by the fire of my jealousy, now that part of it is going to happen at the end of the millennium reign. We'll talk more about that. Okay, and Kiefer or Peter addresses that. But for right now, we're on the brink of a trumpet, the sixth trumpet, and it's not going to be good for you oppressors, especially the ones who just the heathens who just refuse. Like you now, a heathen. I said before, is someone who doesn't believe in the Most High. That's not necessarily true because demons believe in the Most High, and they shake and tremble at the thought of Him. Um, Heathens just deliberately just don't want to do right. Just can't just don't want to do right. Um, but um, it doesn't have. It's the system, and if it was possible, I pray that even, that if that Mystery Babylon would find her way. If it was feasible, but I just don't know if it is. Um, you know, just stay prayerful, saints. Like I said, when warfare, spiritual warfare, we have to stay prayerful. Um, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up right here. And hopefully, I was able to convey to you why things are about to happen the way they are. Okay. Why there's wars going on and rumors of wars and pandemics, why there's different signs going on in the heavens, weather changes, and I saw something about a La Nina or something developing, and you know, the scientists and different meteorologists, you want to put it on climate change and things of that nature. I've already talked about that. Mother Nature and all of this. No, the heat and the cold. Oh, okay, all right, whatever. But the Most High is in control of everything. All right, and so just stay prayerful. And I have to go ahead and end it here because um, I need to get this uploaded. I want to get it uploaded. Um, and like I said, we're in the um, observation phase of in between months. So I'm not sure if the Kodesh is going to show up tonight. It may show up tonight, or it may show up tomorrow. But we'll be doing a um, I may do the Kodesh meditation with the um, um, prayer meditation for this week. So, but again, Zion, I pray that this was edifying to you, and I pray, that the Most High will continue to use me in this ministry to uplift and help build His people, so that we can definitely be on one accord. When I say that, that's very important. And you'll understand why the enemy spends so much resources and gives so much energy to the division and dismantling of the Most High's people. It just um so and you know I know Yeshua said, don't cast my pearls to the swine. I know we have different people who listen, oppressors, whatever. I pray that you even get anything out of it, because this is the precious word of the Most High. It's to be handled with care, protected. All right. I said in the last meditation that I was a king and a priest. I wasn't boasting. I was just confirming what the Most High said about me. You should do the same thing with your life. Um, speaking to Zion, those in by blood or by adoption. Um, and what's the duties of a king? A earthly king. A secular king. Um, you know, a good king would take care of the people, right? Protect the people, and take care of the people. That's what a king does. So that's our role in the kingdom, to take care of the Most High's people. Um, so a king's job is to protect and serve the people. A priest's job is to protect and serve the Most High. Now, I know that may sound, and I will talk more about this in future meditations, but the priest's job was to protect the oracles, the ordinances, the Torah, the Ark of the Covenant, keep the temple up, um, and serve the Most High with the offerings, and the sacrifices, and in turn they also serve the people. But by serving the people, you serve the Most High automatically, and vice versa. So that's our role, and a priest, um, you know, um, as far as in the kingdom, how you apply that, we have to protect His word, rightly divided, line upon line, precept upon precept, um, and um, and one day, when the Most High restores us as a nation, that role will have be more defined. It'll be more prevalent. We'll see, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Um, and so before we do our quote unquote benediction, I do want to extend the opportunity for anyone who wants to bless the ministry. For a long time, I had the donate button. Just I shut down, and I wasn't, really uh, requesting, donations or anything like that. Um, However, this work is labor. It takes work. It takes time to study. It takes, diligence to stay prayed up, discipline. Um, and it takes a lot of time, believe it or not. But it's a labor of love. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy seeing people benefit from this. And hopefully, ultimately, we get to where the Most High is trying to bring us. So I'll have a link in the description of this video. And if again, you'll be so kind, the Most High bless you. I know people who initially, in several years ago, I took donations or what have you. And I was talking to this one young lady who donated to the ministry, and I was just so happy to hear how the Most High was blessing her life. I mean, just from that one $25 offering. But that was a blessing. You understand? But I've seen how the Most High blessed her life. So that was very encouraging to me. It lets me know that this ministry is good ground. And so I pray that your seed, your gift will, as you sow it, that you'll receive 100-fold return as well. And as always, we praise the Most High for whatever you give. We praise Him for just for being who He is. Bless His name and be forever and beyond that. Okay. So with that said, stay prayerful for Zion. Pray for our people, and may the Most High bless you and keep you, Zion. The Most High make His face to shine on you and to be gracious to you. May the Most High lift up His face towards you, His people, and give you peace and blessings. Shalom.